Good morning and welcome to Collider Dailies. I'm Jon Aljets, and joining me once again is
Maggie Lovitt.
Hey Maggie, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you doing on this fine Tuesday?
To be honest with you, I'm a little stressed out. I'm a little swamped. I'm a little tired. Uh, we've got New York Comic Con later on this week, so I got like a bunch of work that's got to get front loaded here within these first couple of days, so that can go do all of that. We're going to be actually talking more about our New York Comic Con plans later on in the episode. We're also going to talk about Snow White getting a 4K restoration for Disney 100 celebration. But before that, let's talk about Daredevil Born Again. We got some reveals, some casting information that is worth going over. So we've known for a while that Nikki M. James is going to be in Daredevil Born Again, but we haven't really known who she's going to be playing. Like, we've seen set photos with her running around, but there's not been any official confirmation. Well, according to some copyright paperwork that was filed for the first episode of Born Again, she is apparently going to be playing, drum roll please, Kristen McDuffie. I don't know why I had to look over and remember that name. Yeah, it's Kristen McDuffie. Yeah, it's a character that she was rumored to be playing, and it's now sort of pseudo confirmed. It's a weird way to get a confirmation about a casting.
Yeah,
it's
definitely a new one for me.
Yeah, I like when I was picking out topics for today's episode, I was looking at that and I was like, really, copyright paperwork is how we're going with this.
And
But with the strikes and everything going on,
it's happened before. That's how we, usually have a little bit of a head start on what's happening at San Diego Comic-Con, because they'll file all the titles right before they announce them. So
yeah, but casting.
I know casting is a new one.
Yeah,
looking in there and seeing that they actually have the character names and who's playing them is fun. It's a fun way to find out.
But if you don't know who Kristen McDuffie is, in the comics, she's the assistant DA in New York there. She's also been a friend and love interest for Matt Murdock. Her big storyline piece, or at least the storyline in the comics that she played probably the biggest role in, is when Matt Murdock was on trial for murder, and she was one of the people who helped with his trial and everything. Don't know if that's necessarily the storyline they're going to go with, but it's certainly possible.
Yeah, Maggie, I mean, that would be a fun one to see play out. It would be a little bit outside of some of the other storylines we saw, obviously, in Netflix's Daredevil. I also really loved how she was convinced that he was Daredevil throughout most of it, and kept trying to get him, and he just kept being like, nope, not me, definitely not. Nope. So there's a lot of elements of fun that might help kind of follow through the version of Daredevil that we saw in She-Hulk, to kind of connect all of that together. But I do have a lot of thoughts about this particular version of Daredevil. So
hit us with it. Come on. Let us know.
Let
it flow. Come on.
Very, very disappointed that Karen Page and Foggy are not in there.
What the hell?
I maintain that there is no Matt Murdock as we know it without Avocados at Law.
Yeah.
And as happy as I am that we are getting Frank Castle again, specifically Jon Bernthal as Frank Castle, I don't think there's a Frank Castle without Karen Page, because of the way that story was built up and their dynamic, whether you view it romantically like myself and some other people, or if you view them as just platonic friends. So much of how Frank's character evolved in both Daredevil and then Punisher revolved around her. So I cautiously optimistic about all of that. I don't particularly want a Frank that's more similar to his comic book appearances, because that definitely has a lot of weight behind it, and I prefer the Frank that we got in Netflix. So we shall see. But I mean, even Claire, I would love Claire Temple to be involved. Obviously, the actress has a good relationship with Disney, starring in, Ahsoka. So I don't know.
I'm excited for Born Again.
Yeah.
Mainly because, listen, I love Charlie Cox.
Love him
as Matt Murdock. To me, he is the definitive Matt Murdock. Sorry, Affleck. with the character of Kristen McDuffie, though, it does raise a few questions about the show and
Mm-hmm.
about like what exactly her role is going to be and what including this character might mean for the show and for some of the things built around the show.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, she's a love interest, as we pointed out. So, what is that going to mean with the whole She-Hulk relationship?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, are they going to sweep that under the rug like they sometimes do with Hulk-related relationships, or you know, what's happening there? Also, on top of that, if they do go with the murder trial storyline, another major player in that storyline was Foggy Nelson. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how are you going to do it without him? So it could just be that maybe she's just a character who's just around. Maybe she won't be a major player. Don't know. Hard to tell at this point. But it is good to know who James is going to actually be playing now. We can all Reddit and everything can sort of like calm down with the speculation because now we have they're actually going to jump on some new speculation.
Yeah, they have something else to worry about now.
Yeah, it's a whole other kind of speculation that they can move on to. So that's it's exciting. I will say that out of the Disney Plus shows, the ones that are coming down the pipeline, Born Again is probably the one that I'm the most excited for. I'm sorry, I personally don't really care about Echo.
I am with all of the drama that seems to be happening with moving it around and various different things. I'm curious to see how it turns out. I think that character has some really interesting potential. I just hope it's done well and leads to something and isn't a series that just kind of gets dumped and run. So,
yeah, hard to say. Disney Plus like can be an odd platform sometimes. Speaking of Disney Plus, this is my best attempt to segue into the story. You're just going to have to bear with me here. Snow White is getting a 4K restoration as part of Disney's Disney 100 anniversary celebration. It is going to be released on, of course, Disney Plus. So, obviously, Snow White, it's a major part of their history. Like the fact that they're releasing a 4K restoration of this should really not be a surprise to anyone. Like if they were going to do a 4K restoration of any film, Snow White, obviously. That being said, if they were going to do restorations of other animated films, Maggie, which one would you like to see the most?
Oh gosh. I'm trying to think which one. Okay, which ones have had restorations recently? I know Cinderella.
Yeah.
Snow White. I don't think Pinocchio has had one yet, or Aristocats. And
For some reason I'm thinking Pinocchio did, but I might be wrong.
There's so much Pinocchio-ism in the last couple years that it's hard to keep track of that. But I am always into the animal ones, so Aristocats, Fox and the Hound, any of those. Fox and the Hound's one of my all-time favorites.
100%.
There's another one. Yeah, any of the animal ones, really. Those are the ones that I cared more about than the human stories.
Not like a Sleeping Beauty fan?
No.
I will admit to you that is like of the like Disney princess movies, I think Sleeping Beauty I've only ever seen once.
Yeah, I think I've only seen that one once.
Yeah, it seems like for me, I tend to almost forget that it's there.
Yeah.
90% of the time, which begs the question: has there been a 4K restoration of that?
That's what I was like. I don't think so, and I don't think Bambi has got one either. Going back to the animal ones, which I could see them releasing a 4K edition whenever their live action thing happens.
Yeah, that whole thing.
Yeah. It's a
choice. Growing up, I was like borderline not allowed to watch Bambi. So
there's a story to question off air.
And there's a story to tell off air. But yeah, I don't know. Disney classics. There's so many like fantastic ones that I do think deserve a lot more love. You brought up Fox and the Hound. That is my personal favorite Disney animated movie, like period. I absolutely adore Fox and the Hound. I actually have there's this it's this little like capsule thingy with Topper on it. And the whole thing is that no matter what you do, you can't knock it over. I got it out of a cereal box.
Oh, I love that.
Or rather, my mom got it out of a cereal box because she gave it to me when I was a little kid, and she was like, "Someday, when you're a big executive or whatever, I'm gonna visit you in your office, and that better be on your desk." But I work from home, so
Is it on your desk though?
it's in my living room. I have like a shelf that has a bunch of my nerdy stuff on it. Like it has a bunch of Power Rangers morphers and some stuffed things and like my nice leather bound copies of Lord of the Rings and then this Fox and the Hound Topper thing.
That's adorable.
But yeah, so Snow White 4K restoration, check it out. It'll be up. I actually probably should look at when it's going to be up. Soon. That's helpful. Okay. So anyways, moving on to our final topic of the day. Everything's going so smoothly today, guys, I swear.
You got us thinking about Disney and everything just spiraled out of control.
Yeah. Okay, so final topic of the day, New York Comic Con. Both me and Maggie will be there. Maggie, what do you got going on? Like, what does your New York Comic Con plan look like?
My biggest thing that I care about is the Buffy the Vampire panel with so many of the cast members that have come back for the Audible series. That is kind of like the most exciting thing to come out of the news this year for me as somebody who grew up watching Buffy, and I am particularly excited to hear them talk about it, especially since a certain person is not involved creatively. So there is returning cast members that I never thought I would see involved in a Buffy project again. So I'm very excited about that. I'm also extremely excited about anything Wheel of Time that we get. I know there is a Power of Prime panel. So hopefully in amidst all of the Rings of Power stuff, we also get some Wheel of Time news. Very excited with where things ended with season 2 last week, and excited to see what season 3 might give us. And then I'm very excited to go to one of the publishing panels for the Star Wars from a Certain Point of View book that came out because a number of my friends are authors of that book. It's an anthology book. So I'm very excited to see that and see some of them do their very first New York Comic Con panel. So very excited to support that. And then, of course, I'm excited for the Matthew Vaughn panel, excited to see what he talks about with Argyle. Also, I'm a huge fan of the Kingsman movies. So anything we get about that, I'm going to be very, very excited for. But overall, like this New York Comic Con's a little bit smaller because of the obviously ongoing SAG-AFTRA strike, and obviously with the writer's strike ending kind of so recently, not many writers and stuff are able to attend. But yeah, I'm excited to try to see what I can make of it. It's going to be kind of similar to the first Comic-Con back after the pandemic, I feel. So here for the vibes. What are you excited for?
So it sounds like your Comic-Con is way more scheduled than mine. Like you've got a lot more like set things that you're doing.
With every date, where I'm going to be, how to get there fast.
I'm very much flying by the seat of my pants. I'm actually going primarily for our sister site CBR. I'm going to be doing filming. I'm going to be doing some interviews and things of that nature. But for me, it's kind of just like I'm going to be where people need me to be for the most part. But I am pretty excited. I'm going to be able to check out quite a bit of video game stuff.
Ooh.
I'm going to be checking out Bandai Namco, seeing what they've got going on. A couple other companies that I can't actually talk about, but you'll see content from it soon. I'm going to be checking out Hasbro. They've got their Marvel toy line. Going to be going there specifically to get some coverage of that. That's going to be really cool. I have quite a few actually Marvel figures from them. They're out in my living room. I really should put more of my nerd stuff in the office so that you can have more to look at than just my wall of video games. But, I am fairly excited for a lot of that sort of stuff, kind of the things here or there. But for me, Comic-Con and events like this, the thing that really gets me jazzed is just being on the floor and just feeling the energy, just kind of just kind of vibing, going wherever I want, getting a chance to talk to and check out some cosplay
Mm.
is a ton of fun. I did a few interviews of cosplayers at San Diego Comic-Con, and that was my favorite thing that I did that entire week. So I'm excited to jump into that again and do that some more. So for me it's all about walking the floor and just seeing what's there, not necessarily going to specific events, but
Do you have any
I'm
plans to go down to Artist Alley and look for any specific merch?
I'm not looking for anything specific from from anybody specifically. I will be going down to Artist Alley for sure. I always try my best to go down artist alleys whenever I'm at conventions, just because I always love checking out people who are far more talented than I will ever be, and just seeing what they do. And in fact, I think the majority of the money that I spent at San Diego Comic-Con was on artwork that is now hanging in my apartment. So,
And now you're out of space and you can't find any at New York Comic Con. That's how it is for me.
I'm going to have to start pulling foam panels off of my walls, like the acoustic foam panels, just so I have more room to put up. Maybe somebody, there should be an artist who starts painting acoustic foam panels, and I'll just
That's an
buy
idea.
those and hang those up. I've seen that before. That's not an original idea, but I got to find somebody to do that. But anyways, if you are going to be at New York Comic Con, if you see me on the floor and I'm not actively working, I do invite you to come up and say hello. And I invite you to come up, say hello, introduce yourself, and then roast me. 100%. Just hit me with your best shot. If you make me laugh, maybe I'll give you a sticker. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I'm coming up with this on the fly. If you're lucky, maybe it'll be scratch and sniff. I don't know what it'll smell like. We'll figure it out.
Well, you can also come up and say hello to me, but I will not have stickers, and do not roast me because I will cry. So,
Maggie, if you see me, 100% roast me.
oh, I can roast you. Don't worry about it.
Oh, wow. That sounds like you already have stuff figured out. That you already have a plan. I'm not hearing a no. All right. Anyways, those of you who are not going to be at New York Comic Con, I just want to know, what do you think about Daredevil Born Again, or about Snow White's 4K restoration? What Disney movie would you like to see get the 4K treatment? Or, as I said, what do you think about Born Again? Are you excited to see Nikki James playing Kristen McDuffie? Do you have any thoughts on the fact that Foggy and Karen are not going to be in the show, apparently? Yeah, big sad. Actually,
Big sad.
huge sad. That probably bums me out more than anything. But anyways, be sure to let us know. You can tweet at us. You can yell at us in the comments. Whatever it is that you want to do. And be sure to check back for the rest of the week, where you will be hearing from I can't speak. Be sure to check back for the rest of the week, where you will be hearing Perry and Steve talk. We actually have an interview with someone coming later on in the week. I'm not going to say who, but later on in the week, one of the episodes is going to be an interview. So be sure to check that out. But until then, guys and gals and everyone in between, I hope you have a magnificent rest of your day. And see you next time.